again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Brown's Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynski, and this is where you can stop in and get caught up on some of the latest news items involving the best team in the AFC, the best team in the NFL. That is, of course, the one and only Cleveland Browns. Thank you to everyone who has liked our previous episodes, who has subscribed to the channel, and to all of you who get your comments in the viewer comment section. And guess what, folks? I think this worked. We got our first member. Very excited about that. And we're closing in on 7,000 subscribers. Super excited about that. I'll be honest, we're working on the live stream stuff, but there's a lot of technical stuff that goes into it. I had no idea. I thought you just had to click a button because it was YouTube. But that's why I do this, and I don't do the technical stuff. But a little more involved, and so we're working on it. We'll hopefully get the lives going here in the next week or so, but we are definitely trying. Now, coming up on today's show, training camp. Finally, training camp is here. We don't have to talk about lists and all this other nonsense anymore. But here's the thing. I'm going to explain to you, even though the rookies report today, what you probably won't see right out of the gate. Also, a defensive lineman and one of our rookie quarterbacks showing the leadership qualities you want in a QB1. How about this? Speaking of QB1s, a dialed-in beat reporter says as training camp starts today, Shedeur Sanders is in the mix to be QB1 and start against Cincinnati. And down in the viewer comments, the sobering truth about how often NFL running backs get hurt. But let's start here. Whoa, this is almost like Christmas Day. Almost better. Jiminy Christmas. It seems like we've been waiting forever, but rookies report today. Thank God. But here's the thing, folks. They're not going to do much. And here's why. So it'll start with, it's going to be physicals and classroom sessions, introductory meetings, things like that, because there's this mandatory 5-day acclimation period. So they don't want them to come in and just go 100 miles an hour because that's how people get hurt. So, they've been off a month. Obviously, yeah, they've been working out, but it's still not, football related activities. And so they get a chance to get acclimated. The vets will be here on the 22nd, July 22nd. So the first open practice when the fans can attend will be the 25th. That's the Dog Pound XL. Remember the 40th anniversary of the Dog Pound? That's the theme for that day if you're heading out there. And we'll go over all the dates in just a minute. But you probably won't see them in pads until around the 27th is what, they're based on what I'm seeing. There's no official confirmed day, so it could be anywhere in and around there with the 5-day acclimation period. I mean, do the math. That would be the 27th, for the vets. So we'll see. The good news is they're all out there in Berea. Now, here's the list of open practices that, the 25th, the 26th, the 28th, the 29th, the 30th, the 1st, the 2nd, and the 4th. And so that's when the public can go out there and watch them practice away along with the media. The media is out there all the time with this now. So we're gonna get our fill of videos and all kinds of stuff. So it's gonna be like being there every single day. So now remember, the big difference between mandatory minicamp and training camp is the pads. Like this is where you start separating things, folks. This is where you separate QB1 from QB2, QB3, and QB4. Because they'll eventually be full contact practices, and then they'll blend into, these joint practices. That's where you really learn some stuff. I've been saying it all along. Those joint practices we'll have with the Eagles and the Panthers will be telling. And then, of course, the preseason games. But I think we've been saying all along, the preseason games this year are going to be something to watch finally. Finally, the preseason games will be worth watching. Now, we mentioned at the top, Shedeur. A couple of things with Shedeur today. I didn't get a chance to get this in. I was on Helmet Watch yesterday, and so didn't get a chance to get this in yesterday. But man, oh man, you want to talk about leadership qualities in a QB1. So there was a big fire at an apartment complex in Cleveland. And when Shedeur was in Miami, remember we showed you the workout videos and everything. And so he heard about it when he was down there. And when he got back, he's like, we got to organize something and help these people. And so There was an explosion, and this was at the Rainbow Terrace Apartments in Cleveland, and so he jumped on Instagram and said, "Hey, I'd love everybody to come out." This all went down on Wednesday. Come out and support, and he got Michael Hall, the defensive end. Michael Hall Jr. was there. Second year defensive lineman. We're expecting big things out of him this year, and so they went there and they organized some. They were playing touch football with the kids, and and just hanging out. This is from Cameron Justice, who we've talked about before. She just won an Emmy over there at News Channel 5. I think that's what they still call themselves, the ABC affiliate here in Cleveland. But Cameron posted a little video, so if you can jump on Cameron's Twitter, you can watch the video. But this is great. And here's the thing, folks. When you see this is what you want to see out of your QB1. And I hate to bring it up again, but 100 miles an hour on 71 on a wet road at 12:30 in the morning, not what you want to see out of your QB1. This is what you want to see out of your QB1. And then the other thing is, look at the effect he had on a teammate. Got Michael Hall Jr. out there. Michael Hall had a rough start last year with the charges, and then he had the suspension. And so it's that subliminal effect. It's those intangibles that Shedeur brings. And nobody asked him to do that. He does it on his own, I mean, sure, he could have sent money, but he goes the extra mile, goes above and beyond, and shows up there and, and talks to the people. So, and I guarantee you, he created lifelong Browns fans by doing that. Michael Hall Jr. too. And so if this is the future of the Cleveland Browns, sign me up for it all day. Great people. Let's start with great people and then great players. We'll take that all day. Now, the Shedeur love doesn't stop there because, and listen, I don't mean to make this Mary Kay week, but she's doing her thing, talking about each quarterback this week on the podcast. And I only pulled out the interest. When she slammed Kenny, I was like, whoa, couldn't believe that. And then today, she is singing Shedeur's praises, which is before it was like rookie quarterback, they got to play in games first. I'm telling you, the tune's changing. So here's what she said. Thanks to Sanders' high football acumen and tireless work ethic, he learned the terminology and playbook quickly and excelled over the final 2 weeks of spring ball. Still, running with the fourth-team offense, Sanders so impressed the staff with his growing grasp of the pre-snap process during those final 2 weeks that he kept himself in the mix for the starting job and earned more quality reps in training camp. How about them apples? I mean, for Mary Kay to come out, and listen, Mary Kay is dialed in. She has been covering the Browns. I was like this big. It's as long as I can remember. She has been covering the Browns. And so she's dialed in. And so she's talking to somebody. And remember what we said about the somebodies. Somebody knows something. And I'm always going with the somebodies in that case. Thank you, Lee Corso, who I love. But Lee Corso always said, hey, somebody knows something. I'm going with the somebodies. Somebody knows something, and they're telling Mary Kay, so I'm going with the somebodies. That's why you got to pay attention to what Mary Kay says. I got a buddy who I always said, if we ever did a podcast together, I wanted to do a segment called Mary Kay Says. Because, and now here I am, I'm doing Mary Kay Says. Because when Mary Kay says something, you got to listen, folks. I'm telling you. And sometimes you have to read between the lines. But to see that, I'm like, all right, let's go. After what happened with Pickett, so this could be a Flacco-Sanders thing. This could be a Flacco-Sanders thing now. Like Flacco starts the season. I don't know. But in the mix, this is going to be the greatest quarterback battle in the history of football once we get going. So I can't wait. It's going to be so fun to watch. Okay, now, viewer comments, you guys are already my QB1. There's no question. There's no discussion. We don't need a battle. There's no quarterback battle. We don't need any of that. No reps, no quarterback trackers, none of that. Viewer comments, QB1. Today we start with Jesus Hernandez, who I've used before, but this was a good one. He says, ever since they took the fullback out of football, running backs don't last more than 6 or 7 years. And he got me thinking. And so he prompted the first ever full screen graphic in the viewer comments because I said, okay, how often are running backs hurt? You know what? They're the most injured NFL players, according to this study. So since 2010, NFL running back injuries have occurred at one of the highest rates among all positions, typically 2.5 to 5.4. But they did a study in 2015. Now, I know it's a 10-year-old study, but running backs suffered injuries at a rate of 5.2%. Cornerbacks came, that's surprising. Cornerbacks were second, 4.4. Linebackers, I figured linebackers would be second because linebackers are the ones who run into the running backs. But they came in third, barely, at 4.3. But then look at wide receivers, 4.5. Even wide receivers get hurt. They're second most behind running backs. So remember what we talked about, the old wide receiver thing, the 30-year-old wide receiver. So you're not wrong, Jesus. Like you don't have a fullback to block for you, But our zones, this wide zone scheme, our running backs aren't going to be touched. They're going to have gigantic holes to run through, and they'll never be tackled the entire season. So none of our running backs will get hurt. So we're in good shape. Moving on, Jeffrey Champion, 1149. With the Judkins situation, I think we need another running back. So says Jeffrey Champion, 1149. He says, a running back that he has had his eyes on is Dameon Pierce from Houston. He says, hey, he's their fourth running back because they drafted a guy, they have Mixon, and now they have our guy, Nick Chubb. So it wouldn't take much to bring him in. I don't mind Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce is a lot like Jawan Jennings. Daily fantasy. So like whenever the number one back would get hurt and Dameon Pierce plays, you stick him in and he gets you points. Or you pick him up that week and he takes care of you. I don't know if he's gonna move the needle enough. Honestly, the more I think about it, if Judkins is gonna miss time, I think Sampson and Ford, you're gonna have to roll them out. I mean, like I said, we got the App State guy. But if you need somebody with experience, I would take a chance on Pierce because like I said the other day, I feel like I've seen enough of Pierre Strong. But I don't know, man. Jerome Ford could really be the surprise of the year if things fall the way we never expected them to fall after the Judkins situation. So, all right, stay busy. He's back. Says Grizzer. Today, he's talking about yesterday's show. Today you are yourself. Past couple of episodes, you seemed off. It was something was bothering you. Great to see you back. I know I'm probably reading too much into your own perceptions. You're not. Stay busy. Because I got to tell you, man, that Judkins thing man, it sucked the life out of me. Just because it's how does this happen all the time to our team? Why do things like this happen? And so we were, he was our RB1 coming in, Ohio State National Championship, and now he's got to deal with this, And so I just hope for the best for him, and I hope it works out, and I hope we can get him back, But like I said the other day, we had to change the vibe. I got knocked down, but I got him up, I dusted myself off, and we're back at it. Positive vibes, let's go. We got Sampson, we got Ford. We'll see what happens with Judkins. I don't know, but let's roll with that. We've got better quarterbacks. The offensive line is healthy. All of the same things still apply. It's Jerome Ford is no slouch. I just said I think they used him wrong. So who knows? In this wide zone scheme, he may go off. And so that's what I'm saying. Now, the low road 216 doesn't agree. He says he thinks this is a rebuild year. He says this is a rebuild year to me. I'm not seeing it at all. I've said it a million times. I've already bet him over 6.5 wins. This is not a rebuild year. We've got people don't know what we have. They look at 3-14 from last year and think everybody still stinks. Not the case. Not the case at all. If you watch this show and you pay attention to this team, and now if Shedeur's climbing the ranks already, there's so much to be excited about. And we'll end on McDoe 2011, who says, I don't think the uniform could get any worse with the smiley face. You remember they're talking about the throwback uniforms and everything? I don't hate the Browns uniforms. I just love that 1980 Cardiac Kids. And every time, that to me is we need to wear that uniform every day just because I'm in love with that uniform. Always have been. I even had a brown Brian Sipe 17 back in the day, as when I was a kid. So I just love that. So the uniforms are okay. I mean, and the throwback thing is fine. I don't know, man. I don't care about uniforms and helmets and that. Just win. That's all I care about. Win games. Win a Super Bowl. You could go out there in a pair of shorts and a cup for all I care. Just win. I don't care about uniforms. But I digress. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you so much. Hey, we'll be watching all training camp. Here we go, baby. It's go time. All right, go Browns. We'll see you next time.